Welcome to the Phi Life Podcast. I'm John Barber, and with me is Brad Pilon, and today we're going to pick up the discussion from last week where we left off about anabolic resistance, the anabolic continuum, and anabolic sensitivity. And I guess more specifically we'll be talking about anabolic slowdown, which is what we think is really going on when your muscle gains and your strength gains plateau during a workout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess we could talk about that. Sure. People are somewhat interested. So, I think it all really comes down to just the arguments over muscle growth, right? You just have so many camps of researchers who are, you can grow, you can't grow. Protein makes a difference, protein doesn't make a difference. You'll put on 8 pounds, you put on 3 pounds. You can build muscle and lose fat at the same time. You actually can't build muscle and lose fat at the same time. And it just gets really confusing, right? Like, how can all these people who are relatively smart, in academic positions anyways, be so at odds over one topic? Right? It's a little mind-blowing. I mean, specifically when it comes into the effect of feeding on muscle growth, right? Like, it's probably when you start talking muscle building with anyone, professional bodybuilder, complete novice, your parents, your cousin, the guy who works in a cubicle next to you, right? And inevitably, protein's going to come up. It's crazy because you look at the research findings and, whether or not the consumption of protein drives the anabolic response. And you can get some papers say yes. The Andrews paper from 2006, the Campbell paper from 95, goes on and on. But then you get a whole group that says that, it doesn't. There doesn't seem to be any relationship. In actual fact, resistance training can lower your need for protein. You're looking at like the Hartman papers from 06 and, was it more?
Yeah.
Anyways.
And I find that was the most interesting one looking through the research that in some cases, or at least there's some data to suggest that by chronic strength training, you reduce your need for protein because your muscle's ability to assimilate it and use it increases.
Yeah. So, I mean, really, if we're looking for a causal relationship, which means that taking protein along with resistance training, the more protein you take, the bigger muscles you get. We just want a nice dose-response causal relationship between protein and muscle building. And it just doesn't appear always.
Yes, it sounds so simple. It sounds so simple to do, but yet it's impossible to show, like, consistently.
So we're missing something, right?
Yeah.
And we can look to the evidence that if you take a large group of people, not 10 subjects all the same age from the same university, but I mean large. And by large, I'm practically being sarcastic because in health and fitness type research, a large group is like 60 people, which is still pretty small in any other sort of form of human research. But you take a group of 60 people, you put them through a training program, and you measure the actual changes in the cross-sectional area of the muscle. And you can divide people up into basically non-responders, modest or moderate responders, and then just like extreme responders. And the difference in the cross-sectional area change in these people is striking. We're not talking people who got like +5 in the non-group, and then like +15 in the moderate group, and then +20 in extreme. We're talking like, the non-group basically got zero change. The modest responders, you're looking at like an increase of maybe 1,000 square micrometers. And in the extreme people, you're looking at like 2,500, right? So these are giant jumps. These are definite like...
And just to be clear, we're talking about people's responses to resistance training, like working
the resistance training
with weight.
Right?
Yeah,
exactly. So you take a group like that, you divide them up, and you're like, okay, these people definitely responded to resistance training, right? And this group over here definitely didn't. And there's these kind of guys in the middle. So you can divide them up like that. You're like, simple. Let's just look backwards. We had them do, 4-day diet records, which I know are majorly flawed, but for some reason we keep using them in the world of research.
But in this case, the problems with them will be consistent throughout all three groups.
Exactly. And everybody tends to underreport on these, especially people who are trying to eat healthy, but underreporting isn't really